Hey, how's it going, guys? Just recorded a video on how to start off doing a RAM overclock on your computer. Now, the video ran a little bit long, and towards the end, we ran into a fail when entering in um, our timings. But this video is just to basically give you the basics on how to start, the software to download, and things of that nature. So watch this video, learn a little bit, play with your timing some, and come back here in the couple of days, and we're going to do a full overclocking video. But before you watch this video, I just wanted to let you know this is just a beginner, a way to start to kind of get you into it. Play with it a little bit and enjoy it. But without further ado, here's the video. Hey guys, hope everyone's doing okay out there today. Appreciate y'all all joining in or coming to watch the video today. Some of you had asked me to do a video on some RAM overclocking. So today we're just going to start off with kind of the basics, just a good starting off point. We're going to try to get this one over with. And then I'm going to do another video later on how to tighten up those timings. But if you want to learn how to get started, and this, like I said, this is a good place to start, just follow along with me. Should be pretty easy, and we'll get you started. Okay, first thing we're going to do is there's two pieces of software you're going to want to start with. It's Typhoon Burner and Ryzen DRAM Calculator. Now I'm going to put both of those down in the description where you can download them, but here I'm going to show you how to do that. And the first thing you want to do is just open up your browser, and we're going to go in here and we're going to type Typhoon, and obviously I can't spell Typhoon. We're just going to put DRAM, that'll make it come up. Hopefully, there we go. And we have the Typhoon Burner official support website, and we're going to go into there. Now you can, this is a free software, but you can pay for it. If you want to donate, there's the Super Blaster Edition and the Super Blaster Edition. If you got a few bucks, it's a great thing, because, I mean, this helps out a lot. So go down and donate to this guy if you can. If you can, I'm sure he'll understand. Now you're going to want to go to your download section here, and you've got your freeware version and your shareware version. Of course, the shareware is if you want to donate or buy it. But today we're going to use the freeware version. So you're just going to go over here and click download. And wait for that download, only takes a split second or two. And when that's through downloading, we're going to open it up at the file location. And you're going to go down to Typhoon Burner. If it doesn't open up like that, just go into your file explorer, and usually it's wherever you download your files to. And you're going to go down to Typhoon and the application, double click on that, and it's going to open up the compressed zip folder, and you just want to extract all that, and I'm going to just extract mine back into the same folder. And then you're going to come down here to Typhoon application, double click on that. It's going to pull up this window protection, protected your PC. But as long as you trust it, which I do, I'm going to more information and run anyway. Now this is going to pull up your registration notice. This is a freeware version. It's got disabled SPD write capability. This is your registration number, but this being the free version, I'm just going to go ahead and close that out, and it's going to open up Typhoon Burner. Now there's a lot of other files and things in here that you can do, but that's not what we're here for today. All we're really here for is we're going to go to the reader. or the read. And when you click on that, it's going to have a drop down box, and it's going to list all of your sticks of RAM. And you just want to click on one of those, since they all should be the same, hopefully. And it's going to open up all the information about your RAM. Now we can look here. I've got the Team Group. It's manufactured by Hynix. It's 3200 speed. And this is our part number here, and this is our die density. Now for most people, you're just going to go to your die density, and what you're going to find out is what your die is your C die. And if you've got Samsung, then it's like Samsung B die or Samsung D die from your manufacturer. But being that it's Hynix, they have a number in your part number here, this CJR, which basically is just the C die of Hynix. And I believe the other one's MFR, and there is another one. But that's what you're going to need. Just know your manufacturer, what your speed is, and your die. And for me, I'm going to need the CJR. So what we're going to do is we're going to close that out and close these out. Just remember that information. And then we're going to go up here and we're going to type in Ryzen DRAM calculator. And it's going to come up, Ryzen DRAM calculator. You can download it on the Tech Power site. There's a couple of different places you can download it. TechSpot, Guru 3D. I'm just going to use the Tech Power one. And you're going to go in here and click the download. Pick your mirroring site where you want to download it from. Just going to pick this first one here, and it's going to download. And it's also a small file, so it's not going to take very long. Same thing. Click on that. It's going to open up into here. You're going to go down to where it says Ryzen DRAM calculator and your version number if it's a little later on and there's a new version, and the application file. And we're going to double click on that, and we're going to do the same thing, just extract all, and we're going to extract that into the same folder. And then we can come down here and run the Ryzen DRAM calculator. Now this mem test here is also good. Normally you have to download mem test to a USB stick and all that kind of stuff. With this mem test, you don't have to. You just run the program and it will restart your computer and run your mem test without putting it on a USB stick. So that's actually another good little piece of software you can get out of this. But we'll go through that again another day. It's really good for testing your memory after you get done with your changing your timings. But we'll get to that later, and maybe in another video, because this one's going to run a little bit long, I believe. So just open your Ryzen DRAM calculator. And I'm going to close this out. And also, I'm going to start back. I had to close my IQ software because it does not run well with the Typhoon burner. And if you open up Typhoon burner, and sometimes it will give you a message to close out some of your software that runs maybe some coloring on your RAM or something like that. So if it tells you to do that, just close it out, run your Typhoon burner, and then come back and open that up a little later. You know, when you're finished running it. Now that I got my IQ software up and running, let's get back to the DRAM calculator. Now the DRAM calculator, it's the Ryzen. I'm using the 1.7.3 version by Asmus. This guy does this for nothing, so I'd really like to thank him for doing it. But what you're going to do is you're going to go in here, and whatever processor you're using, which I'm using the 53600, which is a Zen 2. I'm going to go in and pick Zen 2. And of course, you just pick whatever family you're using. Zen Plus, which is the 2000 series, and the Zen 1, which is the first generation Zen or Ryzen. But go ahead and pick the one you're running, and then we're gonna go up here to our memory type. And mine's the Hynix CJR. And then we're going to go to DRAM PCB revision. Now this is one of the things that I really can't help you with, because my RAM actually has heat spreaders on it, and without removing them, there's no way for me to decide which PCB version I'm running. I can tell you this, that the AOBO is going to be your default, and it's going to give you slightly higher timings. They're probably going to be a little safer, and of course, you know, they're going to be a little higher. If you got the A3, A2, B2 version, they're going to be a little bit tighter, but then again, you have a chance of them not working. So you might want to start with the AOBO unless you know what PCB version you have. If you want, real quick, we will pull up here, and we'll show you a little explanation of what that is. PCB version in DRAM calculator. And where's that one at? Right here. I believe this is the article here that explains it. One of the new things in the DRAM calculator, here we go. The DRAM calculator is one of the new few versions. Receive a global memory retest on the new Asiahorse over 900 spent memory testing on Samsung Beta, Micron E, Hynix CJR. The changes affect all settings from proc ODT to VDDG operating voltages. And then if you go down here, this explains the DRAM PCB revision parameters. Basically, the sockets for the memory chips. In cases A2, we have 2 groups of 4 modules each. That's going to be this one. But like I said, I can't get in. Let's see. Yeah, that's the A2 group. A1 is most often found in OEM products that have ECC modules. But like I said, my RAM has a heat spreader on it, so I can't look. So if I was starting out, if you had something with a heat sink on it or something and you can't tell, I would start off with the AOBO version and try those timings. And then if those work, then you can go to the A3, A2, B2 version, which are a little bit tighter. But what we're going to start as, we're going to start with the AOBO. Memory rank, I have single memory. It's 3200. My BCLK is 100. I have 2 DIMM modules, 2 8-inch or 8 gigabyte sticks, and my motherboard is a B450, so I go to B450. And of course, if you have a X370 or P350 or an X570, you can choose what kind you have there. With your memory speed, you can go in here. If you're overclocking, then of course you just pick whatever memory speed you're going to overclock to, and it'll give you your settings for that. Now once we do that, we're going to go over and we're going to hit calculate safe. Now these are going to be your safe timings. These are going to be ones that are tried and true and most likely are going to just work with no trouble whatsoever. Then you go over, and what we're going to work with today is going to be the fast timings. And you can see it's not a big change on those, but just a little bit. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a screenshot of this. And we're going to save it in our documents. That way I can find it. And we're going to say DRAM calculator fast timings 3200. And we're going to save that. And now that we've done that, I'm going to move those over to my phone so I can remember them. But you can write them down on a piece of paper. I know it takes a little bit longer, but the way I do it is I save them in a document or in a picture file or a file, and then I just swap them over to my phone. That way I can pull it up and look at them as I need them. But on here you're going to have your TCL, of course, all of your timings here, your voltages, your power down, gear down, your command rate, proc ODT, CAD, and basically you just need all of that information. That way we can move it over to our BIOS, your SCLK, all that information. Alright guys, I'm going to save this all in my phone and restart my computer, and we will be in the BIOS, and we can start entering in the timings. Okay guys, now that we've got our settings and all changed over to where we can look at them, either like I did on my phone or written down on a piece of paper, let's restart our computer. Now, for me, getting into the BIOS is gonna be hitting delete. Some use escape, some use F1, most delete will work. See if there's a dot, something right there on the screen. So we can get that cleared off before. Alright, and when that screen comes up, we're going to start hitting delete till you hear it beep. And it's going to slowly goes into the BIOS. Alright, here we have our BIOS screen. We see here we got the B450M Pro 4. My BIOS is the P3.90. I've got the AMD 53600 6-core processor. My processor speed right now is at 4.2 megahertz, 4200. I've got 2 sticks of RAM in A2 and B2. Total memory 16,000 megabytes, which is 16 gigs. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over here into OC Tweaker. Now I've already got my timing set, but we're going to go in and change them a little bit. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go down to DRAM timing configuration, and we're going to go to our first, which is our CATS latency, the TCL. And on mine set at 14, but if I were to change it, I would go in and change that to 16. And then move down one to make sure it takes. Go to the boot. I'm sorry, to exit, not boot. Do save changes. And exit. That's going to restart my system. Now when you change some of these settings, sometimes it takes a few minutes extra for it to boot. It has to train your memory. So don't worry if it takes a minute. Just give it time to run through. Always get anxious at this point, waiting for it to reboot. And for some reason mine isn't rebooting. This motherboard has no telltale signs, so unfortunately, given that it's been long enough, of course there is one thing with this computer that it could be. To restart it. This is the trials and tribulation of RAM overclocking. It's a tedious job, and it doesn't always work the first time. Now it's going to restart itself again. If I had to guess, I'm saying it probably reset my RAM all the way back to its out of the box state. And let's go back into the BIOS and see. Yeah, it went back and set everything back to its factory state. So basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back in here and I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back in here. And I have this profile saved. We're going to load our user profile, and it should have all my timings and everything saved in it. Let's go into our DRAM timings, and they're all saved. Let's save it and restart and just see if the old girl will restart. And let's go back into the BIOS. Okay, and the profile I had saving with the tighter timings for some reason booted with no problem. Now what you're going to want to do with all these timings, and since I'm not sure why at 16 latency it didn't take, but what you're going to do is you're going to want to go through and change all of your timings to the timings that are on the DRAM calculator sheet that we written down. And every time you add one number, like if you change this, like where I changed to 16, you're going to want to restart your computer and make sure it boots. Now with the Asrock, I can tell you the TRCF settings, you're better setting to auto. I've tried setting them manually and I get better timings when I set them to auto. The only other things I can say is make sure with your Ryzen calculator to go through your proc ODT, your gear down, your power down, and make sure those are correct. Now in the data bus configuration, I set it to manual, but then set everything else to auto. When I tried to change it manually, it would not reboot. Everybody's is going to be different. And with my CAD, I also set those to auto. When I tried to manually set them, I could not get a reboot on my computer or anything that was at all stable. Now this video was just kind of an opener to get you started. It's kind of running a little bit long. But that's basically how you go in and start your overclock. One thing you are going to want to do is you're going to want to go down and make sure to set your DRAM voltage. What I normally do is I will go in and load my XMP profile first, and that's going to give me my XMP timings, which mine are 16, 18, 18, 38, but it's also going to give me a good voltage usually for my overclock. And if I can keep it at that, I usually do, which is usually about the same thing that's in the DRAM calculator. Now I know when I restarted mine with the 16 latency that it didn't reboot and it didn't work this time, but don't get discouraged. It will work. And I hope this was helpful. Look, here in the next week or so, I'm going to do a full overclocking video on the RAM. We're going to start where we left off on this one. So, and I'm going to start from scratch. But like I said, this video is getting a little bit long, and I just wanted to kind of give y'all an opener, something to work with, so when we do the next video, we can really dive into how to get your lowest timings. I appreciate you guys for watching, and I will see y'all next time.